Welcome to Healing the Trauma Within. In this session, I am speaking with Jennifer Chapman about what our self-care cups are full of. So let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer. Jennifer Chapman is a licensed coach with Just Commit Coaching. She is passionate about working and supporting others globally who want to break through life's challenges. After suffering multiple traumas in her life, she's using her experience to inspire others so that they too can overcome life's hurdles, embrace their new normal, and reach their full potential. She currently lives in Indianapolis, Indiana, with her husband and her chocolate lab, Serena. Is it Serena?
Serena.
Serena. Well, welcome, Jennifer. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, this is an important topic because, as you know, with most trauma or many trauma survivors, the last thing we think of is self-care. And as women, especially, it's been ingrained in our DNA to put ourselves last. So self-care to so many of us feels selfish. So this is a really important topic that we're going to cover today.
Yes, it's so critical, especially over this last year, over a year, with just all the outside noise and, a pandemic that no one's faced before.
Right.
It's affected all of us in some way. So
Absolutely. I think it's been traumatic for most of us in some shape or form. Absolutely.
yes.
And so many of us with this lockdown have definitely let self-care slide. I know I have. I'm guilty of packing on the COVID 20 or 30 or whatever. Um, so let's talk about, self-care and how it relates to trauma. I think my first question really is, you know, how do we get over the fact that self-care isn't selfish?
Such a great question. And I think that with the work that I've done with my own life coach to understand what I needed to do for myself, um, just realizing that I couldn't serve anybody around me if I wasn't feeling my ultimate. And I know it's hard to feel 100% every day, but if you do little things that you can incorporate throughout your day, not just physically, but just to check in with your mental and emotional health, which I think is even more important than physical. Um, I just realized I wasn't giving my spouse, my family, my friends, my 100% if I wasn't feeling 100% myself. So it was just kind of coming to that realization through talking with someone else and honestly reaching for that, asking for that help that I needed and knowing, okay, I can't figure this out all on my own on what I need to do and how I need to do it. So it was asking for that guidance through somebody else.
Yeah, that definitely helps. And I think too, like you said, just realizing that we can't serve when we're sick. We can't take care of everybody that needs us and depends on us and relies on us if we're feeling like crap, basically.
Yeah, you've got to check your, you can call it your soul cup. Like, is your cup internally filled with depression, anxiety, negativity? It can be full of emptiness if nothing is happening for you. Fear, self doubt, um, any other type of actual mental illness, but things that are just affecting your psyche, your inner dialogue. And if you're aware of that, and I think the first key is awareness of it, and then knowing how do we pour that out and fill it up with joy, positivity, happiness, fulfillment, all those
Mm-hmm.
things where you can then pour that for others as well. Because whatever you're putting out there is going to be received back to you. It's that projection. So if you're putting out there that negativity, that drama, that anxiety, the anxiousness, the fear, like That's what you're going to bring back into your life.
Oh, absolutely. Law of attraction, I firmly believe in it. What you put out there, you attract. So how do we go ahead and pour out our cup and refill it with the good stuff?
Yeah, I think for me, it's creating that consistent shift in your mindset, which is what you can control. There's very little you can control in this world, but it's having full control of your controllables, your attitude and your mindset, and being able to take that it might just be 5 or 10 minutes in the morning that you have before you have to, serve your little ones or whatever that may be. But it's maybe writing a couple things on your mirror every day, and saying them out loud, pouring in that positive affirmation. Because if you do that over and over again, your mind is going to start to believe that, and then you're going to exude that energy out into the world, into your community. As well as for me personally, I implementing meditation, which I know is maybe not easy for everybody, but if you can just even commit to 5 minutes of it through an app that can kind of talk you through it, and it just allows you to just be present and just to be aware and just to be with your breath for 5 minutes. Really, if you do that over and over again consistently, you can build that into your routine, whether it's morning or night. Really helps bring a calm to you, and kind of chill out the anxiousness that may be present, especially over this last year.
I think those are some great ideas. As well as I am huge on hydration. Not so great at eating well. Getting there, working on it.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole different topic, but that's also part of my trauma journey. But I think hydration is important, and when we're dehydrated, we're foggy, we're just not mentally there, we feel like garbage, we have the headaches and all of that kind of stuff. So we can't serve people. We can't take care of ourselves when we're dehydrated. So I know I preach hydration a lot in trauma recovery and trauma releasing.
It's critical.
It is.
If you're dehydrated, I mean, yeah, like you said, it will drain your energy just like that, and then you're unable to do quite a bit of things that you need to do, let alone want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I have teenagers, so they don't drink a whole lot of water. So when they come to me with, "Mom, I don't feel good. Mom, I have a headache. Mom, this, that, and the other thing," my first question to them is always, "When was the last time you had some water?" And they're like,
water is key to a lot of areas of success, and it's free. It's at your disposal pretty much all the time, but it's literally making that conscious effort of, like, if you have to set a timer on your phone every hour to be like, okay, let's get in 8 ounces. Like, it's simple, but it's not easy. Just like a lot of things.
It's not. It is tough. I mean, I even bought one of those, those really cool bottles that have the markers. This is water with Crystal Light in it, just for the record. This is not juice or soda or anything like that. But I don't necessarily go by the markers, because I usually, when I drink probably 8 ounces at a time. But I'll chug quite a bit every hour or so. But aside from the water, well, actually, no, not aside from the water. I wanted to bring up the fact that the water releases the toxins in our body. Not only just from our environment and our diet, but from our traumas. We hold those toxins in. So
I mean, I've suffered a couple traumas. One as a kid, and then again at 34, suffering a stroke. Just for anybody out there that can relate. And man, it was not so much the physical. I was able to recover and rehab through therapy, but mentally and emotionally, really, really struggled accepting this new normal for me, and then embracing it, and really, and I guess finding the reason behind it. And it all kind of tied to losing my mom at a young age, but not really realizing not only was that traumatic, but it was the same age I was when I had my stroke. That's how old she was when she passed. And I hadn't put those two and two together really
Mm.
still processing that about a year and a half later after my stroke, being like, man, it's coming full circle for me. It's accepting like, okay, my mom didn't make it, but I did, and for a purpose, for a reason, and it's now to be able to help pay it forward for others that have suffered these traumatic events, but it not hold them back, not keep making them feel stuck and them wanting to go back to the way things were in this old version of them, but to really embrace who they are now and still be able to move forward and reach a potential and find the other side and see what's there. And so I've done a lot of inner work on myself and still do every day to release those thoughts and limiting beliefs that I maybe can or don't think that I can do something, but that's really what's holding you back is that limiting belief.
Oh, yes. And we'll definitely cover limiting beliefs during the summit a couple of times, I'm sure.
Awesome.
Because that is something that really holds us back. What, you know, when a lot of people think of self-care, you know, number one, they feel like it's selfish. And number two, they think, oh, okay, so eating right and exercise. But it's really more than that. Or they think, you know, spa time and getting your nails done. But I like how you put it, you know, not necessarily your self-care cup, but your soul cup.
Mm,
I love that because I think so many of us forget to nurture that part of ourselves because
for
we're so
sure.
busy running the rat race.
That's right. And I think what a big one that I've learned as part of that, and it's just from the people that I've honestly connected with and talked to over the last year and a half, 2 years, is creating your own boundaries, whether that be time boundaries, um, people boundaries. It's really realizing, you know, what your energy, what are you putting that into? Is it, and it's easy to do, the time
Mhm.
sucking activities or time wasting activities, um, kind of reevaluating and readdressing those, and noticing what's giving you positive energy versus you feeling mentally or emotionally drained after you just did something, or getting you, you know, something that got you frustrated or upset, as well as who you have in your life. And easier said than done, but if you realize like you've got this friend or this coworker or this person in your life that's not feeding you what you need to be fed as far as joy and positivity, and just the overall good vibe, like it's something you need to reevaluate and be mature enough to be like, this person's no longer serving me in a positive way. I need to step away from that, and realizing potentially how good you're going to feel when you do that.
Uh, I have let go of several, not necessarily toxic, but
Yeah,
very negative. You know, they have their own baggage that they're dealing with, and they're just total Debbie Downers. And it was bringing me down just to be around them. It was an energy suck. So yeah, I've had to let go of a few. And I've had to let go of some toxic family members too.
mm, even more powerful.
Yeah, and it's hard, especially, you know, for me, one of them was my stepmom.
Mm,
And I was her caregiver. And, you know, I finally got to the point I couldn't do it anymore. You know, I couldn't put up with the toxicity. I thought maybe being adults, things would change, hadn't changed. Um, you know, and I finally had to call up my brother and say, get your mom. Come get your mother. Um, you know, I couldn't do it anymore. It was putting my self-care in jeopardy.
it's so good that you became so aware of that and then took action on it, because so many people, they may be aware of it, but they're not strong enough to take action on that.
Right. Or they feel trapped,
That's right.
you know, and unable to. They don't want to hurt the other person's feelings.
Right.
That's a big one.
I think it's something that we'll continue to see, and I guess I hope through my coaching I can help others that feel like that's something that's kind of weighing them down or tying them down, and then be able to kind of step away and come to that awareness and kind of accept, like, okay, they're not serving me the way I want and need to be served. Like, they're doing nothing positive for my life. That's on them to not be okay with it. I'm okay with walking away.
Right. Absolutely. And I love that you brought up boundaries, because that is huge. And, not just the people boundaries, but anything that doesn't serve us well, whether it's our own negative thoughts, that's a big one.
Right.
Activities that we do. I've had to cut back on social media, and I need to cut back even more, because it is such a negative cesspool. It has just become awful. And it's to the point where I've wanted to close my profiles and start brand new again.
From a lot of people.
Yeah, just to get more positive people in there. So
and you have control over that, right? I mean, it's
absolutely.
And it's just taking that brave step and knowing I'm going to do this because I know it's what's best for where I'm at right now and where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I need to control who I surround myself with.
Absolutely. And, surround yourself with people who are uplifting, supportive, and serve you.
100%.
Yeah.
I've done that over the last year since I've created this business, is surrounding myself with these positive influences, whether they be people I know or people I don't know, but just that what they're doing in the world is just, where I want to be and what I want to do and who I want to be around. And it definitely has changed the landscape of my social media. Just it's things I want to see and things I want to read about and learn, and people I want to learn from, versus the old way of especially Facebook. It can be a very deep, dark place.
Sometimes it reminds me of high school.
That's right. Yeah, even I don't even want to get political, but people let that control their life over the last few months of last year, and it's like, no, thank you. And just knowing, like, okay, yeah. I don't want to read that. I don't want to be connected with them. Why they're going to talk about that? That does nothing for me whatsoever. I'm good to walk away from that.
Yep, that's what I had to do. I found myself at times I would start to comment, and I was like, you know what? That doesn't serve me. Getting into this cattiness makes me feel bad, and I don't want to feel like that. And so I would just walk away from it. And that's, for me, that's part of my self-care.
Yes.
If it's going to make me feel bad, why do I want to do it?
Right. What result is going to come from that? What good result is going to come from that?
Mm-hmm.
It's just asking yourself those questions and then taking the right action on it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on and talking to us about what's in our cups. And, listeners, I have one question for you, but what is in your soul cup? And I want you to really step back and take a look at that. And, if it's filled with negativity and depression and all of that junk, pour it out. Pour it out and start over.
I love it, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll talk to you, listeners, in one of the next sessions.